Welcome, bienvenidos. Today is Friday, 4 p.m. I think it's January 16th. And this is just, I'm not staying long. I just wanted to, and every time I say that, I end up staying too long. But anyway, I wanted to have a little chat, old school, the way it used to be in the beginning. Now, for those of you who've never been here before, hi, I'm Roxana. And yes, I'm standing up. And I've been doing this for 10 years, according to YouTube. I don't know because it said December. In December, it sent me a message. I think it was December. Sent me a message saying that I have been doing this for 10 years. I honestly don't know. I think it's true because I think I started working on this channel when my parents were still both alive. And, but my dad was doing really bad. And I needed something to distract myself from it. And so I started doing this channel. And back in those days, I was calling it commentary before it became a category. And all I would do is I would sit here and ooh, and just, ooh, and just joke around and have a good time. Nothing too serious or nothing too formal. I didn't even know how to create the content so that I could show it on the screen. So I would show it on my phone and whatnot. And and that was pretty much it. And so to me, that was fun. You know, it was nothing too serious. There was no, at that time, there were some allegations in some corners of the internet, but it wasn't like this overriding drive to be trying to expose everybody for the crap human they were or anything like that. We're just all having fun on the internet. Now, eventually, and with time, we started seeing patterns. Like, for example, Jeffree Star, every time he had a launch, he would have a scandal, which we used to affectionately call that scandal for views, if you know what I mean, which eventually became trolling and gaslighting. And the final form is what we all know and hate, called what people call now rage baiting. That's, and I'm not saying that Jeffree Star started it. I'm just saying that Jeffree popularized it in the beauty community. Hey Lily, how are you? Happy New Year. So that was what was going on around back in those days. I mean, the biggest scandal we had, I don't know if y'all remember this, but one of the biggest scandals we had was that Patrick Star rolled his eyes at one of his fans at a meet and greet. That was like the scandal of the century. We didn't have Dramageddon 1 or Dramageddon 2 at that time. It was just, we would sit here and talk about beauty and talk about the brands and the new releases. And if there was a little scandal or a little story to tell, when Jeffree and Manny stopped being friends, we did talk about that. But it wasn't anything as horrible as the things that you see now with accusations of PDF and all this other stuff. That stuff wasn't on the radar. And it's not that it didn't happen, it's that we didn't have it going on social media. Now y'all are gonna have to excuse me because I literally just got off work and I'm having some soda and some french fries because I'm starving. Alexis Jade, I still follow her. Oh my god, that's blast from the past too. There were so many people. If I started counting right now how many people we saw in the past, I know how people do mukbangs because I cannot eat and talk. It drives me nuts. But if you know, you know that you can't leave the McDonald's potatoes to go stale, so you have to eat them when they're on fire. Like right now, my fingers are on fire because they're really hot. But what I decided to do today, let's go old school. We talk about things that were not that deep. Although the first topic I'm going to talk about is kind of deep, but it's not something bad that anybody did. It's something that surprised the celebrity, and I have a little experience with this situation, so I'm going to tell you my point of view. But I'm going to get to the first topic. There's going to be several. Some are funny. My God, that hit me right here. For those of you who don't know, I live in Florida, and for some reason today Florida is cold. Now our version of cold is it's 58 degrees right now. But this morning was 33. In my opinion, if it's going to be that cold, there better be white stuff on the floor. There wasn't any white stuff on the floor. It's been beautifully sunny the entire time. I know you can only see the glare of the sun from the window right there. But and yes, you're in my bedroom. And but the thing about it is that it's been a beautiful day. But for people like me, it's cold. That's why I have the hoodie still on. And so the first topic that I want to talk about today has to do with Jay Leno. Now, if you don't know who Jay Leno is, I don't know what to tell you. Back in the day, Jay Leno was the host of The Tonight Show. He took over for Johnny Carson, who was the king of The Late Show. And he was there for a while. I'm pretty sure he regrets that now. Because you see, Jay wouldn't let go. Once he got there, he didn't want to let go. And I mean, he was at the top of his game. He was at the top for a very long time. He got this interview with this particular celebrity that did something naughty, and that put him over the top because he was between him and David Letterman. And David Letterman was always on top until that interview happened and he got the scoop. And because of that, he got on top. And then I'm going to make a joke of this. This is not funny, but I'm going to make a joke of this. David Letterman, in overdramatic fashion, decided to have a heart attack so that, he could take over again. I'm joking, but I'm serious because I am pretty sure if it wouldn't have been for that quadruple bypass surgery that he had to have, he wouldn't have gotten to number one again. And the reason why it was a huge deal is because David Letterman's father and his grandfather and pretty much every man on his dad's side of the family had died before the age of 60 from heart attacks. He's the only one that survived. That's a big deal. But there's one thing you need to know about Gen X. We're not politically correct. We don't believe in it. We see it for the hypocrisy that it is. And not to say that we want to be offensive to the point that insult people, but what I mean is we will make jokes of things that are kind of traumatic because that's our coping mechanism. You can like it, you can dislike it, I understand, but it is what it is. So, why did I bring up Jay Leno? Jay Leno was in the Maria Shriver podcast talking about his wife. Remember when I said that maybe he regrets it now? Last year, his wife was diagnosed with dementia, aka Alzheimer's. Now, not all dementia is Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is dementia. Alzheimer's is a type of dementia. We believe everybody that has heard the story that what she has is Alzheimer's. You never know until the end. When you die, they do if you ask for it, they do an autopsy and they do a brain scan and they figure out exactly what kind of dementia you had. Most people don't do it because they don't have the money, but Jay Leno has the money. So hopefully he will help research by letting them find out what kind of dementia it was. Anyway, bottom line is that he's been married to this woman forever. I mean, I don't remember a time when Jay Leno wasn't famous that he wasn't with her. They've had that kind of marriage. And he very happily is taking care of his wife. If I was retired with millions of dollars, I would be doing the same thing. Now, That's not why I'm bringing that up. I'm bringing it up because he finds it very interesting that people are asking him that since she has dementia, is he going to get a girlfriend now? Now, the reason why this hits home is because, in case you are new here, you don't know, my mom passed away from dementia in 2021. And I dealt with that for 5 years. And it was, yeah. You know what he said? And this is why I'm bringing it up, because he was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Not apologetic, but he was very graceful. Let's put it that way. He went and said, and he was talking about how people were so shocked that he wasn't abandoning his wife. When you get married, you say for better or for worse. You don't say for better until something else happens. And that's something that I find fascinating. Listen, I don't have a perfect marriage. I will never say I have a perfect marriage. We've been through hell and back. We've had our moments. We have been separated. But the one thing that I can tell you is that we've been together for 38 years, and we have had moments when we've really had to test that whole for better or for worse thing. Ironically, not the way you think. When he got sick, it wasn't that. When I got sick, it wasn't that. When I miscarried 3 times, it wasn't that. The everyday stresses of life were the ones that almost sank us several times over. Now we had some issues that were major, no cheating, nothing like that, but there were some major issues that we had, especially in the first 20 years of the marriage. And but here's the thing, we were always best friends, even when we were dating, even when we were separated. We were separated, and the first person I would think of telling them good news or whatever was him. So even when we were at the worst point, because we had to go to therapy and all this other stuff, even when we were at our worst point, I always thought of him as my best friend. More importantly, as big as a jokester I am, so is he. We were really young when we got married. I was 21, he was 20. I've been 21 for all of 28 days. So people would think, they're young, they don't know what they're doing. To be honest with you, we took it very seriously. And so to watch people telling him, and he said something to the effect, the Hollywood type. No, that's not true. If you were here with the rest of us peasants, you would find out that that's very common. People automatically assume some things. Number one, people automatically assume that if you put your loved one in a home, it's because you don't want to take care of them. I had to take my mom and put her in a home because it was either her or me. My doctor even said, you either put her in a home or I'm going to put you in a hospital. If you've been in the channel, you know that I spent 3-4 years pretty practically in bed. I would get up, sit down in the desk, talk on live streams or make videos, and then go back to bed. Then when the panini happened in 2020, I would go ahead, walk 3 to 5 miles in the morning, because I wanted to see the sunrise, because I figured if I'm going to be in pain anyway, I might as well be in pain and do something. And I lost like 15 pounds really quick. And then I stalled for a very long time. And then I ended up getting rid of about 35 pounds, but it took me over a year, because as soon as I got home, I would be so tired and in so much pain that I would go back to bed. I'm shocked that I've been working for the last almost 2 years right now. Granted, I started at 20 hours, but right now I'm working 35 to 40 hours a week. It's a lot. But that's the thing. When my mom was still alive, it got to the point I was not getting any sleep because unfortunately, when you have somebody with dementia, they tend to stay up at night. They feel like they have to go to the bathroom 400 times, and we had to have sensors and the whole 9 yards in my mom's room because she would try to get out of bed and hurt herself, and because we didn't want that. I mean, I had the floor covered with pillows. We she had carpet in her bedroom. We had her in one of those medical beds, so she had the bars on the sides and whatnot. But I didn't have her restrained. I refused. I was not going to lock her up or tie her to the bed. That's not something that was going to happen. And she ended up falling out of bed 3 times, or at least we found her on the floor next to the bed. We don't know if she actually got out and then realized that she couldn't move, so she put herself on the floor, because we never found bruises, like the kind of bruises that you would find if somebody falls out of bed. But she was on the floor next to the bed. So it was, taking care of somebody with dementia is a lot of work. Now, in my opinion, he minimized it when he was talking about it to Maria Shriver, and Maria Shriver, being involved with charities that have to do with dementia, knows better. But the reality is that it was very interesting. You'll see that. Did you all see that? Because I don't think I'm crazy. I just saw something. I'm hoping it was like a car going by in the light, because that was really crazy. But what I was saying, he kind of minimized the struggles of somebody with dementia, and again, it has to do a lot with the fact that he is a multimillionaire. He can hire somebody to help him, or hire people to help him figure out how to do this. But I understand the heart of saying, I'm taking care of her and having a good time. That's okay. I'm jealous. You're cooking. I love I love food, so you know how I am. But the reality is that he people I just find it surprising what the kind of things people will tell you when you have somebody at home that's sick. It's like they don't understand that the when you make vows, and it doesn't have to be a wedding. It's just, if you make a promise to another person, you should be able to keep it. I don't know. Am I wrong? Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Now I'm gonna give you, because I made a post. I'm looking for the post. And the post said, did you hear the one about the comedian, his famous and talented wife? This is the one. Oh, no, 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 no. This is not. This is the other one. Did you hear the one about the comedian, his famous and talented wife, and her even more famous superstar friend who clearly does not see why they are together? Now, I don't know if you know. I don't know if his name is Drax or Dax. I don't care. I think it's Drax Shepard or Dax Shepard. I don't care. It's Kristen Bell's husband. Now, let's keep in mind several things. This man's claim to fame was a show called Punk, that he was partners with one Ashton Kutcher, the same Ashton Kutcher who defended his friend who happens to be in jail right now for abusing women. I think this has something to do with the perception that people are having of this situation. So Dax or Drax or whatever his name. You know what? Let me find out what his name is, because it's driving me nuts. And I don't even know how to spell Kristen Bell. Oh, apparently I spelled it right. Kristen Bell. Her husband is Dax Shepard. See, I had part of it right. So Dax Shepard. Oh, you got it. He's a weirdo. Yeah. Well, I don't think he's so much a weirdo. I think that's the perception they want people to have. But anyway, let's look at this because it's hilarious to me. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a big Cher fan. What I didn't know is that Cher and Kristen Bell did a movie together or a project together. I honestly didn't know. There's two things that I remember Kristen Bell from. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where she, I believe, plays Sarah Marshall, and the show where she was in heaven with, oh my God, Three Men and a Baby, Cheers, CSI. I can't remember his name. You know who I'm talking about? The actor, I mean. Oh my God, I'm seeing him and I can't remember his name. But anyway, she had a show. She had a very popular show, and they ended it before it went downhill, which I think it's such a cool thing to do. Leave when when you're still on top, kind of thing. Because and of course I deleted it, so now I have to go back and try to find it. And no, I'm not looking at the screen, so I don't know if you're telling me what it is. But the show is, where is it? The Good Place. And the person that I'm talking about is, and I'm seeing him, and I can't for the life of me remember his name. Harper, Jamila, Darcy Carden, blah, Ted Danson. So anyway, that's all I remember of her. The Good Place and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a hater. I rarely watch TV, so I don't pay that much attention to that. So what ends up happening is Dax and Kristen have a podcast and they invited Cher. And he was digging at Cher because Cher doesn't like him, or that's what he says. And so Cher was she was good because she said, it's not that I like you or I dislike you, it's that I trust her, in referring to Kristen Bell. And I trust her judgment, so there must be something that she sees that I don't see. That was her answer, which was fantastic, by the way. So then he asked her, he put her on the spot and he said, well, she wasn't with me, who do you think would be with her? Brad Pitt. And the people that started commenting about the story went, oh, so you went with another abuser. Now, I have seen every possible version of reactions for this particular topic, and I thought it was very interesting, mainly because it's an age thing. I have come to the conclusion that it's an age thing. Millennials and Generation Z see this entire interaction completely different than somebody my age or older. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying they're wrong. What I'm saying is that we see the situation very differently. The people that I saw reacting were talking about how he was an abusive man, blah, blah, blah. They completely glossed over the fact that this woman married this man after Punked. So she knew what kind of person he was before she married him. It started there. Now, there was a point in the conversation where she's trying to like tamp down the situation, and oh, he's being what was the word that she used? He's being self-deprecating, blah blah blah. She's trying to tamp the whole thing down, and the millennial people that were watching this were talking about how, you see, that is the behavior of a woman who is abused and doesn't want to get him in a bad mood, blah 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 blah. And I'm sitting there watching the whole conversation, and I'm like, no, that what that was is her knowing his sense of humor, knowing that he was probably going to say something that was going to either ticked off or be a little too much for the podcast. And so she wants to keep all cool heads prevail kind of situation. Number one. Or number two, she's the controlling one. Because haven't you ever noticed that whenever you see a situation when somebody's talking about, oh, my brother or my sister is the golden child and I'm the money, or I'm the wallet, or whatever, have you ever noticed that when people talk in those terms, they usually, when you actually sit down and listen to them, you can see it from both sides and go, is it really a golden child, or are you just jealous because you feel that you got everything and they got everything and you got nothing? It could be. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it isn't. But I didn't see it as abusive at all. And mind you, he is a weird person. He is not somebody that I would care about in any way, shape, or form. I mean, don't forget these people went live on an interview talking about how their kids don't take showers for weeks at a time. No, but do I think that it's abusive? I don't know. And I don't care. I don't get involved in people's marriages. I just found it fascinating the amount of people that thought that it was abuse because of the way she reacted. And I was like, okay, whatever you say. I just don't see it. But if you have proof, by all means, bring it on. Hmm. Let's talk about the show Traitors for a minute. I don't watch the show, by the way. But I heard about Michael Rappaport and his little comment. I swear to God. I don't know if you've seen this story. So there's one of the competitors is called Colton Underwood, and he was both in The Bachelorette and The Bachelor. And then after the shows ended, he came out as gay. So basically, the way Michael Rappaport said what he said made it appear like he was insinuating that the kid Colton was the traitor because he's good at lying. Now, let's not forget who Michael Rappaport is, please. As far as acting goes, Michael Rappaport to me gives one note. That's not good or bad. But to me, all his characters are the same. Doesn't matter if the guy is good, bad, indifferent, an accountant, a lawyer, a thief. Every single one of his characters has the same patterns of behavior. Now, it's a wise choice for an actor because if they're looking for that temperament, you're always going to have a job. I just don't think he's that talented. What he is a big mouth. Me talking about rage bait before, he's the master of rage bait. Go to his Twitter account in any one point the comments that he leaves are like, oh my God. In fact, let's do that. You can't see my page because unfortunately I'm not on StreamYard. I'm here. But I'm going to go look at his account and see what he said recently. Did he leave? Maybe he did. Oh, I haven't blocked. That's probably why. Sorry. All right. Okay. So apparently he's running for mayor? How interesting. It says, none of this gaslighting fake news about my now iconic appearance on Traders will get me or my staff off track as we soft pre-prep for the 2029 mayoral election to take back New York City. You know what? I'm going to go really old school. Oh, wait. No, I'm not going to do that now. Or maybe I am. I'm very confused as to what just happened, but anyway. Let me see if I can get. See, I took them all down. I killed the app from my phone, so the only way I can do this is if I go into my feed on the internet, and then I have to find this most pathetic human. I can't spell. If I have my glasses on, I can't spell apparently. Because I started spelling it and Michael Rappaport. Yeah, I have him blocked, so I have to find somebody that's like add him so that I can see him. Because if not, I can't. And that's what I did on the computer. But it right now I'm just trying to find anybody that mentioned him. Let me see. Doggone it, people! You need to mention him. Mm-mm. Mm. I'm going. I wish I would have known that he was blocked so that I could. Let me see something. Hold on. What if I. Bingo, got him. See, he's blocked. I'm not kidding when I said that, but I wanted to see the post. So this is what I just read you, and as you can see, he has a poster where he is the face of Lady Liberty, because that makes sense. Oh, so he got banished from traders. Okay, interesting. Ryan Johnson is a horrible person. Okay. Okay, I am assuming he's talking about. I don't know who he's talking about. I'm not going to repeat what he's saying because they're pretty nasty. But the bottom line is that Michael Rappaport has made quite a career out of screaming and ranting and raving on social media. So I don't. Do I find it surprising? No. Here's the thing. The young man in question was talking about the fact that he was 29 years old when he came out and that he spent 29 years hiding who he was. That doesn't necessarily make you a good or a bad liar. But because I didn't see the show, I don't know what the interaction was. If it was me, my answer to that would have been, well, you're a better liar. You lie for a living. You pretend to be someone else for a living every day while you're acting. So what's the big deal? And Colton wouldn't have gotten in trouble for saying that because he's not coming after a personal situation. He isn't. Why did that happen? I don't know. But listen, I don't know if you are a friend, an ally, a member of the LGBTQ community. I happen to be all of the above, and all I have to say about this is very simple. Many people spend their entire life hiding who they are in order to be able to survive. To say to somebody, oh, well, you lied about being gay all this time so you could be on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. At no point, and by the way, once again, he didn't say that. What he said was that, well, you're very good at lying. I don't know how much further that conversation went, and I don't care. Here's the reality. Comparing a lie that you tell like for fun or for a show to living a life where he might have not known, he might have thought he was bisexual, he might have thought he could cure himself of it, because we all know that if you come from certain communities that are very conservative, you might have. Okay, that's the second time I see that. Now you all have to understand my dad, the anniversary of my dad's passing is tomorrow. So that white thing that just went through the screen is freaking me out. If it's you, I know. I know. Chillax. Anyway, going back to the situation. Um I just I have an entire opinion piece on this whole situation about people not respecting other people's situations. It's not a lifestyle, it's not a choice. You are born one way or the other. You cannot make somebody gay any more than you can make somebody straight. And I know this for a fact because, for example, I had two brothers. They're both passed away since we were kids, but the first one was straight, the oldest one. He hung out with my brother all the time, my second brother. That didn't turn him gay. Any more than my brother being the son of a heterosexual couple who were married until the day he died because my dad died first. Um, that didn't turn my brother straight. It didn't. And I asked my brother because I was very curious, and of course I was a kid, so I wasn't that young. I was like 15, but still I was very curious about how did he know, and the reason was obvious, but I'm not going to get into that right now. And he would tell me I was born this way. He had one girlfriend that I remember when he was in high school, and he used to tell me every time I used to love hanging out with her, but the minute we had to kiss, I wanted to throw up. And it was not on her. It was on him lying to himself about who he was supposed to be, because my dad was very much a man's man. And I've always believed that my dad thought that he did something wrong, and that's why my brother was the way he was, which is not true either. It took my dad years for him to figure out that that's not the way it works. And a little part of me thinks that he still went to his deathbed thinking maybe I could have done something. No, you couldn't have, sir. Just so you know. It's really crazy to me that people think that they can control other people just because of what they watch on TV or who they hang out with. Listen, who you are as a person comes from you. There is no amounts of therapy, and I'm not talking about bad things. If you have an addiction or something like that, yeah, you can take that to therapy and deal with it. But I'm talking about deep down inside who you are as a person. If you are a member of the LGBTQ community, there is nothing wrong with you, and you shouldn't want to conform to other people's expectations of who you are or what you are. That's what I'm trying to say. It is what it is. And I think I'm going to leave it with this because I want to go to bed. But I really appreciate you for coming, Lily, and hanging out with me. And for whoever the silent watcher is, thank you so much for watching. And I need to get back used to doing this again because I am feeling like, oh my God, I'm getting nervous, which I never used to get nervous. So hopefully next week it will be a little bit more entertaining. But yes, I'm coming back next week, next Friday at 4 p.m. I'm taking back my time slot. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.